Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Do you feel like all you ever do is work? Always engaged and not enough downtime to regroup and relax? This is especially true in our society where after work comes the social and familial responsibilities such as weddings, funerals, baby showers and everything else in between. The resulting effect is one where a person feels overwhelmed and can't meet daily work requirements. Eventually, one is either failing at work or in their personal lives. A work-life experience that is out of balance. But most importantly, in a world where the boundaries between work and home are increasingly becoming blurred, how do you figure out what works? Tonight, we discuss the nuances to achieve a healthy work-life balance, but especially for employees. So, in essence, employee work-life balance is a wellness issue. It's how an employee manages their professional and personal responsibilities so that they do a good job and have enough rest and leisure time to recharge. It goes without saying that a healthy employee work-life balance also drives productivity, engagement, and retention. So ultimately, how can employers help support their employees to get the balance right? To help, here is Shadrack Mbaiwa, a consultant in human resources. Shadrack, thank you so much for joining us on First Issues for this conversation today. We are talking about attaining a work-life balance, but from the perspective of an employer and how they can help the staff achieve that equilibrium. So let us start first by understanding what is a work-life balance.
You know, when we were doing maths at secondary school, we were taught about equilibrium. Equilibrium is striking a balance that you don't fall on the other side or either on the other side, but you remain stable in the middle. So when you're talking about work-life balance, you are talking about equilibrium where there is a balance between your professional responsibilities as well as your personal life activities. Most of the time, employers forget sometimes that employees need to strike that balance. And you would find an employer calling you at 11 midnight. They want a report. Maybe a manager had forgotten that tomorrow they are supposed to present that particular report, and you are the person that is supposed to do that report and give it to them so that they can go and present it tomorrow. They wake you up at 11 midnight. You promote a healthy work environment by providing reasonable workloads, unlike overloading employees with a lot of work and also having breaks. How wonderful it is when one Friday you tell your employee, no, you have your free afternoon, you can go home.
But the way life is set up, Shadrack, how feasible do you think your proposal is? Because at the end of the day, the bottom line still has to be impressive. There has to be signs, that there are people here who are working. And at the same time, people want to see themselves progressing in their career. They have goals that they need to meet. And outside of that, there's life. Familial responsibilities, social responsibilities. Do you think that what you're proposing is actually possible?
The feasibility of this is dependent on one thing. Number one, is dependent on the nature of your work. It depends on the organizational culture. It depends on the industry standards. So in my view, if I'm proposing this to you, you need to go back into your work, nature of your work, and say, I want to create a work-life balance for my employees. But does my nature of work allows what I want to do. Then you go to the drawing board and create a platform which would allow what I am proposing to be feasible. So if I fail to identify the nature of work that I have as a company, and also fail to understand the culture that I have and the industry standards, because those must inform all these other things that I want to introduce into my company so that my employees can have a work-life balance. So I'm afraid if you can't look at that, you will not achieve this. And this is a deliberate move. Sometimes we think seeing employees at our desk every day, they are productive, only to realize they're not productive, but there could be better way for them to be productive than being at your desk looking at them. So for me, whether you work at your kettle post and you're giving me the results that I want, I don't care. All that I know is that you are giving me the results and you are performing. And that's what matters to me.
I mean, this is a conversation that comes up a lot in the human resource spheres, issues of staffing, issues of welfare for employees and how they can better manage their time so that they can reach equilibrium in terms of how much work gets done and how much of their social life they can continue living. But the question now is, where does the employer feature in trying to help the employee reach that balance, a healthy work-life balance?
Honestly speaking, where there is a will, there is a way. I mean, for example, let me give you an example. If I want to give my employees a day off in one afternoon, maybe one afternoon last Friday of the month, irrespective of my employees cannot work from home, I would create to say this afternoon of the month, we are off every Friday. You see that there is a will there. Maybe my employees cannot be able to work from home, but I can give them a free afternoon on a Friday last day of the month, so that they can go for their shopping, they can go and spend time with their families. You see, there is a will there. So everything lies within the leaders that are managing that particular environment or a company. So the industry standards, they do not prescribe to you what you cannot do, but they only prescribe the bare minimum that you should maintain within the work environment. Then if you go beyond what the minimum industry standard says, it's a plus to your employees. There is always a way. I believe there is a way. If you are a leader, you break the rules.